The room is small, too small for rank, too small for escape. Maps are pinned crooked on the wall, corners curling like tired flags. A single bulb hums overhead. Dust floats through the light, slow and lazy, indifferent to uniforms. The German commander stands straight, not defiant, not pleading, controlled. His jaw is set, his hands are still. Patton does not sit, he never sits. The silence stretches. It's not accidental, it's engineered. The interpreter finishes the translation. The words hang in the air, naked and irreversible. You'll have to kill me. No shouting, no theatrics, just a statement. Clean, terminal. The German commander is not asking for mercy. He's challenging authority. He's drawing a line where none is allowed to exist. Patton steps closer. Boot leather against concrete. Once, then nothing. This is not a conversation. This is a test, and everyone in the room knows it. Because whatever Patton does next will not stay in this room. It will travel. Patton did not arrive at moments like this by accident. Long before this room, long before this commander, Patton had trained his men to expect violence not just from bullets, but from certainty. He cultivated fear the way others cultivated discipline. Not fear of death, fear of disappointing him. He wore polished pistols not because they were practical, but because symbols move faster than orders. He spoke in absolutes. He punished hesitation. He rewarded aggression, even when it cost him politically. Everyone knew the stories, the slaps, the speeches, the relentlessness. Enemies heard them too. Patton understood something most commanders avoided. War is not fought only on terrain. It is fought inside nervous systems, inside expectations. Inside the moment, a man decides whether resistance is worth the price. By the time this German commander said those words, Patton's reputation had already arrived ahead of him. It had knocked, it had entered, it had taken a seat. This room is not neutral ground. This room is already leaning, and the man standing across from Patton knows it. Which is why he chose that sentence. Patton does not respond immediately. That's the first move. He lets the words decay in the air, lets the German commander hear his own voice echo back at him in memory, lets the confidence either harden or crack. The interpreter shifts his weight. He wants this over. Patton studies the man in front of him the way a butcher studies bone. Not cruelly, practically. Where does it break? Where does pressure travel? The German commander meets his eyes. He's brave, or cornered. Sometimes there's no difference. Patton finally speaks, quiet, flat, almost bored. There's no threat in his voice, no anger. That would give the other man leverage. Anger reveals investment. Patton offers none. This is dominance without heat. The German commander straightens slightly. He interprets the calm incorrectly. He thinks he has found restraint, humanity, a limit. He repeats himself, not louder, firmer. You'll have to kill me. Now it's not a statement, it's a wager. The room tightens. Even the air seems to pull inward. Patton steps closer again. Now they are inside each other's space, inside the distance where violence becomes simple. Still no reply. Silence is doing the work. This is not about the man. It never was. This is about precedent. If Patton hesitates here, the hesitation echoes outward, down chains of command, across front lines, into the calculations of officers who will never meet him, but will hear what happened in this room. If Patton escalates too far, the message changes. He becomes predictable, brutal in a way that can be planned around. The German commander senses the pause. He senses possibility. His defiance sharpens. This is the most dangerous moment, when resistance believes it has leverage. Patton turns his head slightly, just enough to acknowledge the officers behind him. They do not move. They do not speak. They are watching. Everyone is watching, and Patton knows it. This is where the myth is usually born. This is where history wants a simple answer. Patton could have ordered the man shot, clean, immediate, final. He could have arrested him, removed the threat quietly, let bureaucracy finish the job. He could have argued, persuaded, appealed to survival. Many commanders would have. But Patton is not choosing between actions. He is choosing between futures. He understands something brutal and precise. Whatever happens next will teach everyone in the room how power works under his command. Execution would create fear, but a blunt kind. Fear that hardens resolve in some men. Fear that turns martyrs into symbols. Mercy would look like weakness, not compassion. Weakness. It would suggest that defiance can coexist with survival. Argument would elevate the German commander to an equal, a negotiator, someone worth convincing. Patton cannot allow any of those lessons to exist. He needs something sharper, something cleaner, something that rearranges the German commander's internal hierarchy without pulling a trigger. He looks at the man again, really looks. This is not a fanatic. This is a professional soldier clinging to structure because structure is all he has left. Strip that away, and the defiance collapses. Patton makes his calculation. Reputation matters, but only if it's useful. Fear matters, but only if it's controlled. Violence matters, but only when it saves future violence. What he does next will not be loud. It will be surgical. Patton speaks, and the room changes. Patton does not raise his voice. He does not threaten. He does not reach for a weapon. Instead, he dismisses the idea of killing the man as if it were beneath him. The effect is immediate and devastating. The German commander expected violence or mercy. He prepared himself for both. What he did not prepare for was irrelevance. Patton speaks as though the outcome is already decided, as though resistance is not brave, not tragic, just inefficient. The words are translated slowly. The meaning lands harder than any sentence about death ever could. Patton makes it clear, this man's refusal changes nothing. His death would change nothing. His survival depends entirely on whether he chooses to be useful. The power dynamic flips. Moments ago, the German commander believed he was forcing Patton's hand. Now he realizes Patton never extended one. The room exhales, but only slightly. Patton turns away, just a fraction, not enough to disengage, enough to signal closure. The most important thing has already happened. The German commander is no longer the one defining the stakes. But the surrender has not yet occurred, which is exactly how Patton wants it. Because surrender, to be effective, must feel voluntary, even when it isn't. The hook tightens. The German commander's posture changes before his words do. His shoulders drop, not much, just enough. The defiance drains, replaced by calculation. Survival instinct reasserts itself, but now it is framed differently. This is no longer about honor. It's about control. Patton waits. Silence again. Always silence. The commander speaks. The sentence is longer this time. Conditional. Careful. It contains doors instead of walls. Patton does not respond immediately. He lets the man hear himself retreat. Only then does Patton give a single, minimal acknowledgement. Not approval, not acceptance, permission. The officers behind Patton register it instantly. This is the real lesson. Not what was said, but how little needed to be said. No body falls, no blood stains the floor, yet everyone understands the outcome. Defiance has been neutralized without force. The German commander is escorted out, alive, smaller than when he entered, and the story begins moving. Because stories move faster than armies. Word spreads the way it always does in war. Sideways, distorted, sharpened by fear. Not that Patton killed a defiant officer, that he didn't need to. The message is more unsettling than execution could ever be. Patton is not impulsive. He is not emotional. He is not easily provoked. He is worse. He decides whether resistance is worth acknowledging. For enemy officers, this changes the equation. Suicide defiance loses its power if it no longer forces an outcome. Martyrdom requires an audience willing to sanctify it. Patton denies that audience. Future commanders facing capture now carry a new uncertainty. Defiance may not buy death, glory, or leverage. It may only buy humiliation and irrelevance. That uncertainty is corrosive. Men begin surrendering earlier, not because they fear Patton's temper, but because they fear his indifference. This is psychological pressure refined to its sharpest edge, and it works precisely because it is not loud. Among Patton's own officers, the lesson is colder. Authority does not require spectacle. Control does not require rage. Power does not require constant violence, but it does require consistency. Patton has drawn a boundary that cannot be crossed, not because it is guarded by punishment, but because it is guarded by inevitability. His subordinates understand something crucial. Patton will not argue with reality. He will impose it. This creates loyalty, but a brittle kind. The kind forged by clarity, not affection. They know where they stand. They also know where they will fall if they hesitate. Patton's command climate hardens. Efficiency improves. Initiative increases. Fear sharpens into focus. And yet, something else creeps in. Distance. Because a commander who uses psychology as a weapon cannot turn it off selectively. It affects everyone in range. Patton knows this. He accepts it. This single moment does not win a campaign, but it reinforces a pattern. Patton's myth grows, not as a killer, but as an inevitability. Someone resistance cannot meaningfully alter. That myth does part of the fighting for him. Enemy units collapse faster. Negotiations shorten. Decisions accelerate. War becomes less chaotic around him, not less violent, but more predictable. Predictability is power, yet the cost is real. Patton's methods leave no space for moral comfort. They rely on pressure that strips individuals down to utility. They turn human moments into calculations. This works. It also erodes. Every time fear is used as a tool, it dulls something else. Empathy, trust, the margin where mercy might live. Patton trades that margin willingly. He believes the trade is justified. History largely agrees because history measures outcomes, not interiors. But outcomes are not the whole ledger. That room is long gone now. The maps are dust. The men are names. The silence is memory. What remains is the question Patton never answered aloud. Did his effectiveness require that moral narrowing? Or did his narrowing create the effectiveness? Was fear his weapon or his crutch? Patton won not by being cruel, but by making cruelty unnecessary. He engineered situations where resistance collapsed under its own weight. But the cost of that engineering was a command philosophy that left little room for humanity on either side. The German commander lived. Patton's legend grew, and somewhere between those two facts lies the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the most effective form of power is not killing a man, but deciding whether his life even matters to the outcome. That is not a comforting lesson, which is why it still works, and why it should still make you uneasy.